Okay, today we are going to try to attempt to do an empty tomb since Easter is this Sunday. And I have to tell you, I have never done something like this one before. So we're just going to try and hope that it works. We're going to go ahead and I put out some light brown, kind of a peach color, a lighter yellow, a darker yellow, but not too much darker yellow. And then I have white, green, that's kind of almost an olive green, and then a light blue and a gray. And so far we're going to start with those colors and see how we get. Now I kind of want to do the same similar background to the trees that we did, where I want it to look like light is shining. So I'm going to start with just a light blue on the top. And I've kind of sketched a little tomb shape, but not really. You don't need to do that. I was just kind of doing it to see how big I could make it. So I got this idea to do a tomb. Wood Connection actually has a wooden tomb set that you can paint, and I really wanted to do that, but with the quarantine going on, I haven't gotten there. So I thought, well, why don't we try to paint one and see how that goes. Now I'm actually going over where the tomb is going to be as well, just because I know that the colors will go over each other, and you won't see this blue, but I want to make sure that I'm covering everything here. Okay. And then I want to go ahead and I'm going to take this lighter yellow and I'm going to kind of start at the top and bring it down. And then I'm going to take some white to just kind of add some clouds to it and maybe make this line go down to make it look more like a light shining directly on there. I'm just going to add a little bit more blue to this because I think it needs to be. And you'll notice when you're working on canvas, the first coat of paint that you put on will use a lot more paint than the second layer or the third, because it kind of soaks in and makes that base there. So again, I'm going to bring in a little more of this white. And then a little bit of yellow just in this area right here. Okay, and I'm going to leave that for a minute until it dries so that I can go through and put a little bit more white highlight, but I think now it will blend too much. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to rinse out my brush. And of course, you always need a paper towel handy when you're working with acrylics. Rinse that brush off. And I'm going to go with, we're going to start with darkest. I always like starting with darkest with acrylics. And I'm just going to go ahead and make the shape of a tomb. And from the pictures that I've seen of a tomb, it almost just is kind of like a mountain or like a brick wall, and then it has the tomb inside of it. So we're just going to have it kind of go to the sides, and we're going to have like an entrance right here. So we're just going to make a little arch, and we're just going to get this shape of how we want this tomb to look. And then of course, there'll be some dirt ground there too, so it doesn't matter if we bring that down, and we'll have like a step into it. But I'm just kind of roughing in as well. And again, I'm just going to kind of add, and then it's pretty light. I don't want this like thick paint color on it because we're going to go through and add more colors, but I do want just kind of a base color of that brown going through. Okay, and again, we're going to have this arch here. Now, I want to add some yellow inside the tomb. Usually it's, you see it being dark, but I picture it as just this glowing entrance of this miracle, that he's not there, so that or it could be when the angel's there and saying that he's not here. So I want to do this kind of this lighter color right here. And then I want to go ahead and take a little of that same yellow and kind of add to the tomb here, and just add some dimension so that we want some lights and we want some darks added in here. We're going to add a little bit of grace to the rock. Again, I'm still just using my flat brush here. And then we're going to go down here and make some more stones. And more stones over here. And then this step in. This big stone in. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and rinse this brush again. Before we get too much farther along, I'm going to try to go through with the sky again and see if I can just add in some white light coming in. So I'm going to take my brush, and you want your brush to be really dry, and you're just going to want to kind of bring this light down. And then kind of spread it around so it doesn't look like a complete line. You just kind of want that essence of a light hitting right here. As we get lower to the tomb. And then maybe a little bit of this yellow shining down as well. And then I'm going to take some blue and just kind of do a wisp in. So it doesn't look so fake, like I want it to look like the kind of the sky and the rays are coming out. Okay. And I'm going to add like a little bit of like maybe a cloud here. So that the sky doesn't look so fake. And then maybe a little more blue coming in here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave that for now. And I'm gonna start. This is kind of dried now a little bit, and so we're gonna go ahead and start again with this. And I'm gonna actually switch now to a smaller brush, and we're gonna get a little bit of some detail in. There's one color that I did forget to squeeze out, and it's black. So I'm gonna add a little tiny bit of black to that just to make some darker spots. So we're gonna go ahead, and I want kind of a shadow going into the tomb. So I'm gonna take some of that black, and I'm just gonna kind of brush in this entrance way here to make it look 3D. And I even want to kind of add down here some steps. Going down into the tomb as well. So we're just going to kind of highlight some of those steps there. And we're going to add some of this and then I'm going to take some of that brown. I'm just going to kind of go over the top of it, and I want it to still be wet because I kind of want to mix that paint on canvas. And I kind of feel like I'm looking like this is too smooth. I kind of want to make it look a little more imperfect, because I would guess that a cave is going to be kind of rocky and not this really smooth edge of a line here. Okay, so then I'm going to take some more of that brown, and I'm just going to kind of mix it in here. And then I'm just going to kind of fade out okay, and then we're going to add kind of the steps here as well. Do kind of the same thing. And if your paints are getting it all dry, just add a little bit of water to it. You don't want too much, because then it will turn into kind of a watercolor look, which you can do with acrylics. Acrylics you can actually have, if you just use them wet, then they will look more like a watercolor. Okay, and I want this step down here to be darker as it's going inside. And then I'm going to add a little bit more brown here. Okay, and then we're going to just kind of start taking this brown and fill in this other side. And then start coming out with it. Now again, because it's a rock, we don't want it to be exact. We want it to be more like splotches of paint. So we're not going to be smooth at all. We're going to just have it as splotchy kind of looking as we want. Now I'm going to take in a little bit of this yellow, and I'm just going to do the same kind of thing. I'm going to start splotching paint here and there, just by kind of spreading it out, making it look like there's shadows, making it look like there's crevices in the rock. And you can see how that's starting to look more like it's 3D and dimensional. Then again on this side, and on this side we're going to have, this is kind of where the light's going to shine out, so this side is going to be lighter than that side. And we're going to add and spread this. So what you want to do is you want to dab on some paint and then spread it out. So I'm adding paint. If I just left it like that, that wouldn't look real. But because I'm going through and kind of spreading it out and fading it out, then it's looking more 3D. Now I wanted to do up here where the sun is hitting, I wanted to kind of do this light yellow right through here. Okay, now you can tell that it's kind of looking down into here. We're going to have some light coming out of it. Now I'm going to take some white and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the yellow. I'm going to just, and because it's still wet, my brown paint is still wet, my yellow is still wet, it's blending these colors on the canvas. If it starts getting too dry, you'll notice you won't be able to blend it as well. Now there is something that I forgot to add. We're going to add right here is just the stone that was rolled away. So I guess the stone would need to be as big as the entrance here. So we're just going to go ahead and make this stone now. And I'm just going to use yellow for right now. And fill that in. And then take some brown. Make this edge right here to make the stone look 3D. And over here it's going to be darker because the stone is hitting the shade. Okay, and then the same thing, we're just going to go through and make it look like a rock. Just adding in those colors, and I'm going to let that dry a little bit in order for it so that we can add some more color and dimension in it. But I'm just going to add, just kind of leave that to the side. I might want to just add a little bit of white right here. Okay, so we're going to leave that for a minute. Come over to the other side again, and I'm going to start kind of doing the ground here a little bit while the other stuff is drying. And here's going to be our step into the tomb with some more rocks. They're going to be right here. Just going to add the dirt as well. In fact, that tomb could be on the ground there. We'll see if we want to change that, if we want to leave. But I can't decide. Okay, so we're going to keep going on this side. again, we're going to want kind of some steps here of rocks on both sides, and then we're going to want this whole part down here. Whoops. Coming down. And I'm going to take some white, and we're going to kind of add in another maybe rock here. And then some white down here for the dirt as well. Okay, I'm going to bring this white down here. And we're going to have some white up here for the stone. Okay, now we're going to leave that again for a minute. In fact, I don't like it going that deep, so we're just going to have it go like that. And we're going to add a little stone here. All right, I'm going to rinse my brush out, and we're going to add some more white to this area, and we're going to let this part dry now. So I'm going to take, and here's where it's going to start really looking more 3D, is I'm going to make this part lighter. And add some of this yellow. To the inside of the tomb on this side. This be nice and light. Steps going down. White in the middle here. And I'm going to draw just a little hint of a brown right there for showing that it's 3D. Again, we kind of don't want it to be perfectly arched because it is a rock. Then I'm going to take this brown on this side. And make it look like it's going in deeper. Then I'm going to take some of that yellow, and I'm just going to do a tad of line here going across that first step as it's going in. Then add some, and I'm adding a little water to this because my paint's getting a little dry. Add just a little bit of a step down. Okay, and then we're going to add some highlights to this step to make it look like it's going down in. And then we're going to have like a little boulder over here. Going to add in front of the tomb. And then we're going to add another little boulder over here. a rolled stone. Okay, we're going to leave that kind of to dry for a bit. And we're going to start with coming back through here with our rock again. And we're going to add just some white, kind of feather it out. Make it look as much as we can like it's gonna be stone. And we're just gonna feather that out. Add, feather this out. And then again up here, gonna do a little bit up here. And of course, because the sun is hitting on the top, this area is going to be lighter than underneath. So, and then we want it here around where the stone is. We want to keep that shape. And then we want to go in here, the top where the light is hitting the most. You can see that as I brought this white in right here, the stone is kind of sticking out now because you can see the edge, but then you kind of want to fade that out so it doesn't look too fake. Usually nature is not a perfect shape, so you want to make sure that you kind of make it look messy, not symmetrical, but asymmetrical. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead now, and I'm gonna take, now this stone is right here, and you've got this edge. I want to make it darker over there, so I'm going to take some of my black and some of this brown that I've done, and I'm going to go through where this would be creating a shadow, and this will be, you can see how this will start making that stone. I feel like I need a little bit of water. This is going to make that stone really stick out. And then we're going to do that over here as well. Again, we don't want the stone to be that perfect of a shape. I'm going to fade that out. Now I'm going to add a little more brown to it because I don't want it that dark all the way out, just that edge. So I'm going to bring this in with some more color. Right here. We're going to want a shadow down here where the stone is hitting the ground. And I'm trying to make it as uneven as I can. Right here. Okay. And then I'm going to rinse my brush. and add a little bit more white here now and kind of blend this in, make these colors match a little bit and make it look like it's still rock, even though it's a shaded rock over here. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and draw some of this rock back in here. And some white. And then we're gonna have some white right here where there's a ledge. We'll bring this rock in. Okay, and I want this rock to be kind of like a stepping stone as well. But it is made out of rock, so we want it to look as splotchy as we can. I'm going to add some gray. And I'm going to add some gray down here to this dirt. And then we're going to add to this some gray. Make it look like it's a different rock than the one. Okay, and then we're going to add some gray to this stone. And add a little bit of that yellow to the stone. And a little gray over here. Make this a little gray right here. Show that that's thicker right there. I rinsed my brush to get a little more water, and I want it to make more of a distinct line right there now that it's in. And I actually think I want it to have add a little black to it. I want the edge to be smooth right here as it's going in. So I'm going to use a little bit more water to get that line more accurate. And then I'm going to draw just kind of a little line right there so it looks like a step down. And then this one going down to that one. And I feel like this one is a little too dark, so I'm going to add just a little step down there. Make it maybe even add a little white to that step too, so it's not so dark. Okay, and I feel like we're getting there. We're going to just have a little bit more details. For this step, I'm going to add a white line right here. And then, of course, we want that same pattern that we've been doing, just kind of the splotchiness. Now, because this is more outside, this is going to be lighter right here. We can even add a little bit of yellow to the stone. A little bit of yellow right here as the light is coming out. And even a little bit of yellow more as we're going into the tomb, having their steps down. Okay, and then I wanted to change that gray a little bit to add just a little bit of brown in there and blend that in, and then make the yellow on top as well. This is kind of a muddier brown right there as it's going in. And then super light over on this side. I'm going to take some white. And we want this to be a big contrast right here, so you can see that this is the inside of the tomb and the other is the outside. And again, I'm trying to do it as uneven as I can. To make that definitely look like the entrance of the tomb. And you can just keep playing with your colors and seeing how much you want of it to be yellow, how much you want of it to be white. And that's the fun thing about the acrylics, is you can keep adjusting. I need to refix this stair because I got over with some yellow. Okay, and I noticed up here I kind of didn't blend that in. I'm actually gonna change that, make this look like the 3D part that's showing from that angle. I think that looks better. Now we're gonna add a little bit more of the white on this stone. And try to make it again as irregular as you can so that it doesn't look like it's just this perfectly round stone, because it probably wasn't. Then add some yellow. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of some black and make some lines inside the rock to make it look like there's some cracks in there as well. So I'm just going to bring some kind of darker lines into the stone. Like some little cracks that have come through from age or from chiseling it or whatever they've done. This one got a little too black, so I'm just gonna fade it out and add some brown. Add some yellow to it and try again. So I'm going to get a little more black. And I dried off my paintbrush, and then I can make these more subtle little lines in here. I actually want to have this part of the stone be lighter right here because the sun's probably hitting this side more. And again, adding some of these little dark edges here and there will make it look like it's stone is being hit. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do is I want to go through and add just some color to the ground. I feel like it's a little bit too much brown. I need some more colors to it. So I am going to add a little bit of green to it. So I'm just taking this green that I have and just kind of adding some green, some maybe weeds or whatever's gathered there, just at the base of the tomb. It was springtime, so there should be some green coming through here and there. And then maybe take some of that black and take a little of that green and just make kind of a darker green, just to add some dimension. Maybe some longer. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of white to kind of blend that. And you want to make sure that your lines are a little bit, they should kind of match the angles. That will make it look like it's more, it won't look out of proportion. The perspective will be better. So there you have it. There is your tomb. Hope you enjoy it.